Okay, lads, the big one at the weekend is the Pettitts Senior Hurling final, obviously, between the first time the two teams, St Martin's and Ferns, have met in the final, and two teams that had good wins in their semi-finals. I think they were both underdogs maybe to win their semi-finals, but won them impressively in the end.
Yeah, you can say underdogs, but it's not the biggest shock in the world that the two of them won. The standard of the championship is it's very competitive. Teams are. There's no outstanding team, like an Owler team of old that's going to steamroll the championship. So I don't think it was a big shock that the two of them got through, but both were very impressive on the day.
And Joe, in terms of the games themselves, the semi-finals, what did you make of them?
To be honest with you, I thought there would have been a bit more scoring in them with the weather that we got. I thought the first match, the Martins played the way they played. They brought in lovely ball into the forwards. The second match wasn't what I would hope to be. I thought Ferns were a little bit slow. Took them 15 minutes really to get going, let's be honest. I thought the Raps had the whole game in control. Two matches overall were maybe the heat, maybe something like that got to the two teams. I don't know. 4 teams, sorry.
And Red, you saw the Martins first hand a couple of weeks ago. Very unlucky, I suppose. They were on the wrong side of the penalty shootout. There's Larry O'Donnell. We should add him in, but what did you make of St Martin's the day you played them?
Yeah, look, to be honest with you, in that game they were probably nearly always in control. We had our chances, but they dominated the first half, and they definitely dominated the second half of extra time as well. And even at the end of normal time, they had a free to actually win it. So they were, you know what I mean. I thought more control in that game. When it came to the semi-finals, Joe was saying there about maybe the semi-finals usually aren't great games because, you know what I mean, teams tend to fall over the lines. Go to the Raps last year in the semi-final, they fell over the line into the final, and ourselves against the Shells, you know what I mean, there was nothing in it. We had a man sent off early, and maybe that galvanised us to get over the line that day. But semi-finals in general just aren't usually classic games. But we're in for a good final. It's a good even final.
If we start looking at the two teams then, Ed, we have Dylan Byrne in the goal for the Martins at one end, and we have I should really be asking you, Red, this. You played in the goal this year in the championship. Dylan Byrne at one end, and we have James Lawler at the other end. Where do you see the key components of their game?
Look, both of them are good. I can't pick out, you know what I mean, either of the two of them. They're going to have the edge over the other one. They're both good goalies. I suppose the Martins, the one thing you would say when it comes to goalies is they haven't actually maybe tested the opposition goalie as much in the last couple of games. You know what I mean? They've no goal. I wasn't overly busy with regard to shot stop myself in the quarterfinals, so you know what I mean, it might be something that they're going to look at now this week and try and see how maybe they can get in for a few more goal chances.
And Ed, if we look at the back lines then, we look at St Martin's backs first. What do you make of them?
Yeah, just one player sticks out for me, Conor Farman. 90 minutes on Lee McGovern, 60 minutes on Conor MacDonald, conceded 3 points from play against probably arguably two of the best forwards in Ireland, So you'd expect he will pick up Paul Morris, I presume, and he's playing really well for the Martins. And there's others there. Joe Barrett is an outstanding young hurler, and he's very good going forward. But one player that doesn't get the credit he deserves for the Martins is Patrick O'Connor. And basically what he's doing is he's stopping the ball going in. Great catch the last day, soloed out, hand pass to Joe Coleman over the bar. I think he's a player. Him and Patrick Breen from Ferns are two very, very underrated players. I think Patrick Breen has drawn the short straw every time. He's marking the opposition's best player every day.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. So they're the key players in the backs, and sure, there's both teams are very good in the backs, and the Martins have Owen O'Leary a sub, Willie Devrick's a sub, Dahi Waters a sub. They'd be on most. They'd be on most.
The centre back as well, Cod in the centre.
He's
I
outstanding.
think he's outstanding this year,
yeah,
and there's not much recognition about him either.
I'll tell you where he's going to be key next Sunday is Ferns will line out with a sweeper, so he'll be the Martins' loose man, sweeper, so to speak. And I think he's very good at that. I think he's the best in the county at it.
I'd agree with you. I think he actually stays out that little bit further. He doesn't sit back on the full back line. I think he stays out in the half back line and he's able to run the game that way. So I think he's been a very good player for the Martins this year.
Key player, yeah.
Do you know?
And Joe, would you be looking to match up, if you were the Martins manager, looking to match up against any of the Ferns forwards, or would you just put their backs in what you would consider their best positions?
I'd say for the Martins, I'd say they're going to go with the same forward line. They're going to see what Ferns are going to bring. Maybe Ferns will think about maybe putting James Tonks maybe on Joe Coleman, and then Morris I think will be picked up with Fireman. Then they'll have their free man. I think after that, then I know Kyle Fireman is full forward.
Yeah, Niall Murphy.
Niall Murphy, I think, will pick him up. After that, then I think it's even enough. Do you know what I mean? On both sides, I think there'll be nobody matching. I think they're going to go and play the way they got to the final. I think they're not going to go too much about it.
We'll just forget about the final for 1 minute. I think Niall Murphy has to make it to be an inter-county player. I think he's very similar to Mikey Butler of Kilkenny, you know, and he has that high level of fitness too, you know.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it's an interesting battle there between both managements and what way tactically, and they're after meeting in the championship already and they know each other in and out. They're after seeing all the matches. It'll be interesting how both teams set up. I know obviously Ferns go with the sweeper and Martins will have a sweeper. It'll be interesting. Will the Martins let Paul Morris off, or will they pick him up? But which I thought the Raps let him off a little bit too much in the end, where I thought they should have picked him up a bit more.
With Jack O'Connor gone, like Jack would have been kind of the main man. Yeah. Well, when I say gone, look, you know, he went off after 12 minutes the other day. He's going to be under pressure. Look, they could start him and see what they get out of him. I don't know, but with him gone, I suppose the rest of the Martins forwards are probably all around the same level. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if Ferns are going to really concentrate. They might just line out as it is to start with, and then you know, switch around if needs be. But Martins at the other end have all got good backs, like, so they have all lads capable of marking the Ferns forward. So they might actually just, you know what I mean, not shift the
pack either. Yeah, they might shift the pack. Yeah, you're dead right.
I think it's a big part of hurling now. I think you would see matchups Sunday. Definitely see matchups.
Think so?
Yeah, I think the likes of Patrick O'Connor will pick Ian Byrne, I think, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a great believer in a left-hander on a left-hander, you know. It gives you that, you know, a left-hander has a great advantage over a right-hander in the air.
Well, both of them are good in the air.
Both of them are very good in the air.
I thought Ian Byrne caught a lot of important ball right at the end for Ferns the other day, and I think Patrick could null that out, you know. As you say, left-hander.
If you remember last year against Feathers, he got a very similar score to equalise the game. So that's a sign of a player with a great nerve, you know.
Yeah, but if you put Patrick O'Connor on Ian Byrne, it's not really moving the whole thing, you know what I mean? Ian Byrne's probably going to be in around full forward, and Patrick's going to be around full back, so it's not, you know, there's no one going to shift from who's been playing in the half back line who's going to shift back to, you know what I mean, the full back line or anything on either team, I don't think, anyway.
And the four of us have played a good bit in full forward lines, and the type of ball that the Martins were playing into their forwards, their full forward line in the game against Goalie was absolutely brilliant, Joe. The ball bouncing 5 or 10 yards in front of a lad, and all he had to do was
catch it round over the bar, and you're going to get the same day on Sunday. You're going to get good weather, the ball is going to be flying. If the Martins come with that attitude, again, Ferns will have to really up their game. I thought, as I said earlier, I thought Ferns were a little bit slow. They were 15 minutes slow the other day, and if they go with that attitude again, the game could sneak away from not and like, to be fair to the Raps, they were 6 points ahead with 7 minutes left. I don't know if Ferns can let that happen again, and if the ball is coming in, as you said, like the Martins were doing it, sure, it's unbelievable ball.
Playing in Wexford Park is just complete. Like, in fairness to the championship, there's been a lot of high scoring games, and we've only got into the Wexford Park sort of towards the end of the group stages and then for the quarter-finals. Leave out the semi-finals, right? But there was very high scoring games, you know, every other game in Wexford Park, and even some of the games outside of Wexford. But in Wexford Park, ball is just lovely for the forwards because the pitch just kills it. There's not as many balls missed when they go in, like, whereas in some of the other places they can be just bounce, little horrible bounce, and it's gone by you and it's wax ball then, like, you know.
But one thing that's happening, if you're playing in a match elsewhere other than Wexford Park, the pitch is not being watered, it's very hard, the ball is hitting the ground and zooming out over the end line and the sideline, whereas in Wexford Park it's hitting the ground and it's bouncing up nicely and the ball is staying and playing more.
Yeah, I think Kyle Fairman benefited greatly last Sunday from the ball in, and you know, he had chances. He scored 6. He had chances to score maybe 9. You know, which it was a fantastic display by him. But sometimes he had more time than he even thought on the ball. You know.
Yeah. One other thing, of course, is, well, there's loads of other things, but the next thing is the contrast in the age profile of the team. St Martin's would have a much younger team than Ferns. I was counting up the other day. If you compare the Ferns starting 15 from 2013, 10 of them were involved in the semi-final, and 10 of the Martins 2019 starting team were involved in the semi-final. So a lot of the Ferns lads have been around for a lot longer. Ed.
Yeah, you just wonder, would the weather affect this now? You know, Ferns after playing extra time, and it's meant to be a very hot day next Sunday. Will that have an effect? You know, but I think both are very happy camps. If you follow me, I think they know their job, and their subs are coming on at the right time every day. But you know, the Martins, 3 inter-county hurlers coming on, one after the other.
Both benches are contributing massively.
They are massively,
And, you know, sometimes you can look to a game and you mightn't see a whole pile between the teams. And you might pick something on the bench that's going to maybe change it. But even this, it's hard to see what.
You know, even John Breen, Bitsy O'Connor, Benny Jordan, they're all contributing.
Declan Byrne, another one now. He might start at the weekend, depending on. But
he's the captain. Yeah, but they're all contributing, and you know, this is why certain teams are not getting for far. Is because you need 20 now. It's as simple as that.
Well, the way the championship is run, you need the 20. And we're just after harping on about it there. You're just after naming. We're all after naming 4 or 5 that they're all going to bring on. And as Ed said, you need 20 now, and that's why both teams are in the final. They're the best 2 teams in the championship. So,
like, to still have players like Owen O'Leary, Darren Codd that weren't used the last day. They're outstanding club hurlers. Like,
outstanding club hurlers, you know.
But did we say that St Martin's have only one player over 30 on the starting team, Ed?
Yeah, I think Mark Maloney might be the only player over 30 now. I hope I'm being kind to him now. I think he's 30, 31, around that age, and I think he's the only one over 30. So there's a lot of talent in St Martin's. These young lads are used to winning under 21, minor, etc. So, you know, there's a perception out there that the Martins lack character. You don't win what they've won by lacking character. I think they're well-grounded young men. They're very talented, and you know, no one can question their character after being down so many players this year and beating quality teams like the Ans and Gorey. You know, no one can question that anymore.
Ed just mentioned there, Ed, about the players that are down. Do you think that's helped the younger guys? They've had to step up to the mark now. That there's no, well, not that there's no older lads, but that there are fewer stars on the St Martin's team maybe than there might have been.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of the new management, right? So everyone has a clean slate, you know what I mean? So a new guy in there, and you know, David was with Ross Lair there and won a county title with them, and this is his second kind of job in the management gig. And then the other thing is they're actually missing a few, and the Martins have always had 25. You know, you were talking about needing 20, and sometimes that extra 5 can actually be a negative thing, because as a maybe selector or manager, you've too many to pick from. And then plus, you know, those 5 that aren't getting on, they have parents, they have brothers, they have grandparents, and you know what I mean, they're kind of going, why isn't my little Johnny starting? And that can lead to a negative thing too, because you know, everybody will bat for their own and everyone want their own. So I think for that, you know what I mean, that's helped them this year. Actually, a few lads been missing. Now when I say a few lads been missing, Joe, Rory, possibly now Jack, do you know what I mean? That's serious. Do you know what I mean?
Ben Maddock,
Ben Maddock as well, gone. But
Aaron was missing for the early stage.
He was excellent last time when he came on.
Oh yeah,
you know,
brilliant.
Another inter-county hurler, like.
Do you know? But then we're talking about the Martins and what they're after winning. But I think Ferns, a lot of the older lads and all, they're after sticking to it. And maybe this is their year. Maybe this is the chance, you know.
And they seem to be managing those older guys very well.
I think so. I think they're managing the young with the old this year. I think they're bringing on. They have a couple of older lads on, and they're interchanging with a couple of the older lads bringing on, and a couple of young lads. And I think it's working a treat for them, really. Do you know? And maybe this could be their year. This the way the thing goes.
Go look at our game in the quarter final, the Ferns game in the semi final. You need to be finishing with a stronger team than you start with, and both teams, Martins and Ferns, are doing that. Like they're hanging on to a couple of lads that they know will come on and give them a bit of an impact. So,
it's an interest. As Red said, it is interesting because both teams are finishing, and the great thing about it is a lot of them are contributing scores when they come on, and that makes a big difference. Where you're under pressure on the pitch, and you can get a couple of scores out of them, it lifts you no end, you know.
Takes a good manager to be able to get that though, because there's lads there coming on that most other people, if they were picking either of those 2 teams, that have them starting, like, do you know what I mean? So it to keep everybody happy and to keep the thing all harmonious.
Yeah, you know, with Ferns, this is twice they've beaten the Raps now, and twice they've come from what I would call big margins.
Yeah, they were 10 points down at the first round.
First round,
at half time.
6 points
Or the
down
second round,
with 6 minutes to go against what must be said a very, very tactical Rapparees team, which is very hard to break down with the sweeper, playing against the wind as well they were, and they still got back into the game. So they're definitely a serious outfit. But I would have seen a few league matches they played this year, the All County League, and they were very impressive.
And we've mentioned the guys that St. Martin's are missing, but we also must give a word about Gavin Bailey. I think it's an awful shame that he's missing as well.
You know, when we go to the county final next Sunday, we're probably going to be without 4 inter-county players on view, you know, and that has to weaken the standards, you know. 4 of the best club hurlers in Wexford are not going to be available to their respective clubs, and Gavin puts in an almighty effort to get himself right, you know, and unfortunately he's after doing his cruise shit again, but I can guarantee you he'll be back. Yeah,
it certainly won't be for a lack of an effort that he'll be back anyway. I think he tried to play on a couple of times last year that I think no one else would even consider playing on, such as his. So it's definitely is a pity those guys are not going to be available. I suppose we'll have a word for the referee as well. It's Eamon Furlong. He's going to be refereeing his first county final, Joe.
In fairness, Eamon's a good ref. He talks to you on the pitch. He lets you know why there's a free and all like that. I know the last couple of weekends we're all everyone's after having a word about ref, about point or a goal or a few other things. But at the end of the day, it's all on the day. If we come back down to it, it's kind of the last 10 minutes we're trying to judge refs on. But hopefully Eamon does his job. He seems to be doing it right. He seems to, he was a player only a couple of years ago, like, so he knows the ins and outs of it. So hopefully, it'll be a good one for him, like,
Have you any?
Yeah, no. Look, I haven't had him in a whole pile, but any time he was there, I did think he was good. And as Joe said, he speaks during the game. There, he tells you, he lets you know what the story is. And another point Joe made, which obviously he's not long finished playing, so he knows all the kind of tricks of the trade. He knows what to look out for. Lad grabbing an arm and trying to buy a free. He knows that he'll spot that, like, So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. And I've heard from probably 2 or 3 people this summer have said to me that he has been the best ref that they've had during the summer, so I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully, it's just it takes us another game and he doesn't let the occasion get to him, and if he don't, I think he'll have a very good game, and we won't be talking about him next week.
It also helps that he played at a high level, Ed.
Yeah, I'm one of the few. I went to school with his brother Ronan, sat beside him, and that was some desk, wasn't it? But I know him since he was very small, and his father is a great Gael, so just hurling is all what that family thinks about, so it's great for the Furlong family.
Yeah, so the very best wishes to him, the linesmen. I'm not sure who the linesmen and the 4th official are yet, or the umpires, but best of luck to all of them. It's nearly time to get a prediction from you then, lads, as to who's going to win. So Joe, what way is it going to go?
To be honest with you, I'm going to stick my neck out on the block here. I think it's going to be a draw. To be honest with you, I think
sticking your neck on the block.
Well, I do. I think it is.
I draw with this match a few weeks ago, and everyone said I was sitting on the fence, and then it was a draw. But I got no text messages.
I think.
You only get them when you're wrong.
Oh no, yeah. To be waiting. No, your club is an awful club for it. To be waiting the total. I always says to him, it's very easy to make predictions after the match.
No, I do think it's a draw, and. There's a replay then, and then after that, then look, that's another day. But if it was extra time, then if it went to extra time, I would put my neck out and say Ferns would win it. But to be honest with you, I think both teams are too even, and it's very hard to call. And I think they'll nullify each other in the game, and I'm going to call a draw, I think.
Red?
Yeah, from the start of the year, people in 4 championships started to be asking you who did you think was going to win it, and my team was St. Martin's at the start of the year. Obviously, you involved yourself. You think you might have a chance yourself, but you don't tend to publicise that. But the reason why, as I already said, I just thought that they would have a nice balance this year. They'd have, the 20 odd. You need a bit of luck along the way. They've got that, and anytime I've ever won anything, and always think back to where we fell over a game or where we got the little bit of luck that you need, and I think they've got it, and I think it's kind of written in the stars for them. It's not going to be, they're not going to walk it by any stretch of the imagination, but I think they'll creep over the line.
Ed?
Yeah, this prediction of the game is very hard. We're assuming that Jack O'Connor is not going to play. we're assuming that Paul Morris is not going to get sent off after 2 minutes, you know. Like last Sunday, I thought the Martins would beat Goalie, but then Jack O'Connor went off after a few minutes. I would have changed my mind. But the way I'm viewing it now, you know, I don't think any team in the country can afford to be without the players the Martins are without. You're talking about brilliant players. So the way I'm viewing it now, if Jack O'Connor doesn't play, I think Ferns will win. But if he does play, I'd be sort of thinking that the Martins could get over the line. So look, I'm going to say Ferns.
I Red mentioned a little bit of luck you need. I think both teams have got the little bit of luck you need to win the championship, which makes it a little bit more tricky. And if you look at the last few games that they've played, the last 3 times that they've played, there's been 2 draws, and Ferns won one of the games by a point. So very, very little between the sides. I'm just about going to agree with Ed, and I'm going to slightly favour Ferns, but again, it wouldn't be at all surprised to see a replay of this next week, but I'm going to go with Ferns.